Welcome to my channel, everyone. Today I'll be hiking in the stunning Turtman Valley of Switzerland, and I'm excited to take all of you with me. But first things first, how do you get there? The valley is located in the heart of the canton of Valais, near the town of Turtman, which is accessible by both train and bus. From the train station, a short walk will take you to the cable car that ascends to the municipality of Oberems. Of course, you can opt to skip the cable car and hike to Oberems, but since I only had one day to explore the valley, I chose not to do so. Interestingly, there was no one at the valley station of the cable car. I had to communicate with the operator via speakers, explaining whether I want to go to Oberems or Unterems. Afterwards, I had to get in the cabin and ensure it was properly locked all by myself. Not that it was difficult, I just hadn't experienced something like this before. The next step is to get from Oberems to Gruben, the largest village in the Turtman Valley. A bus operates between the two, but you have to check if it runs at the time of your visit. Sometimes it only operates on requests, which must be made no later than 1 hour before the departure. Be sure to inquire about the operating times at the Turtman Tourist Center, either by phone or by email. I actually asked a week before by email and I received a detailed answer very quickly, but I still messed up. You see, I wanted to travel as early as possible in the morning with the bus at 10 past 8, since the next one only operated at 10 past 10. However, I misread the timetable completely. As for the earlier bus, you need to make a request, which I forgot to do. Hence, at 7:45 in the morning, I had to make a choice: wait for the next bus or hike to Gruben. I opted for the latter, given that the hike was around 9 kilometers with roughly 500 meters of elevation gain, and waiting for 2.5 hours was definitely a no-go for me. After about 1.5 hours, I finally arrived in Gruben. Many hiking paths converge here, as you can see. One of the most well-known things about the Turtman Valley is that you can summit one of the highest hikeable mountains in Europe from here, the Barhorn, but more on that later. My next destination was the Turtmanhütte. It was a more strenuous hike, covering about 10 kilometers with an elevation gain of approximately 800 meters. This is the same route you would take if you were attempting to climb the Barhorn. Here I arrived at Förder Santum, which is the outermost location where you could park your car, if you intend to hike the Barhorn. Actually, that was my original reason for coming here too. However, at this time of the year, during the early July, most of the trail close to the summit was still covered in snow. Considering this and the less than ideal weather forecast, I decided against attempting to summit Barhorn. Instead, I chose to hike the Turtman Panoramic Trail from the Turtmanhütte. This is the Turtmansee and the Turtman Dam, located at 2,177 meters above the sea level at the foot of the Turtman Glacier. Here marks the first instance where I had to turn around at one point and take an alternate trail around the lake. You see, some streams and waterfalls had swollen due to rain, making certain crossings impassable, even though they are typically crossable at other times of the year. Finally, I'm arriving at Turtmanhütte. There are two paths to reach this hut, however one was closed, so I had to return via the same path I came on, called the Steinmannliweg. Luckily, I didn't have to backtrack all the way, only until the starting point of the Turtman Panoramic Trail, which would lead me all the way back to Gruben. At the hut, I took a well-deserved rest whilst basking in the absolute beauty of my surroundings. On the way back, I encountered another uncrossable stream, so I had to go back and cross it at a different location. Fortunately, this went without any issues. Despite all these minor inconveniences, the Turtman Panoramic Trail was remarkable, offering some breathtaking views of the valley and all its surroundings. Towards the end of the trail, I even found a great place to capture some drone footage. My overall impression of the region was overwhelmingly positive, so I highly recommend it to anyone visiting this part of Switzerland. It is much more quiet than the neighboring Mattertal, for obvious reasons of course, but that only enhances its natural beauty. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, and if you are interested in similar content, consider subscribing. Enjoy the rest of the video and see you next time.